the targets being set now for farmers from a nature restoration perspective are really strong, and I think if you can get ahead of that now, and the sooner you start put trees in the ground, the sooner they're going to mature. So I'd say get involved and get information and reach out would be my message. So my name is Brian McCarthy. I'm the owner-founder of Cork Rooftop Farm. Started in 2020, March 2020, is kind of born out of a lockdown project from COVID, and it has grown and expanded into where we are today, which is on Glenbrook Farm, a 60-acre farm here that we've taken on since the 1st of January, going through organic conversion since that date. And I suppose one of the big focuses for me on this farm is to bring back biodiversity, is to bring back natural habitats for biodiversity, but also to make it a really productive space for horticulture. And one of the really key focuses for us that is to reintroduce a meaningful amount of trees around the farm. It was a dairy farm for decades, and it has quite a traditional dairy farm layout, so with a centre area for where the cows would come in for the parlour, paddocks roughly 2.5 to 3 acres in size all around it, and we were using that layout and that structure, but the ditches were basically devoid of any trees, any shelter. We're on an elevated site here, so the wind sweeps up through the farm. One of the most damaging things for our crops is wind, the effects of wind, and you know, our crops need shelter, they need protection, and trees are the best way to get that across. I didn't grow up on a farm. My family business is wholesaling fresh cut flowers and plants, so I have a business background, so I always looked at things from maybe a customer-centric point of view. I basically tried to educate myself with the best information I could find out there. So my initial training would have been around, and teaching would have been around regenerative agriculture and min-till or no-dig principles when it came to soil health and soil structure, and really trying to farm in harmony with nature. I wanted to do something that was both fulfilling for myself, but also had a positive impact on the landscape that I was farming in around. And that started with the rooftop farm, created a productive kind of oasis in the middle of the city that was a bit of a unique productive space. We farmed here in a smaller capacity last year, so about a hectare, which gave us a good indication as to what the soil conditions were, what the prevailing weather conditions were. So we had a good idea of prevailing winds, rain, birds, pests. Wind was obviously a strong one. Soil health here is quite good. The fertility is excellent in the soil. Peter, the farmer who owns the farm, had quite good soil management practices in place. So we're trying to build on that. We really put an emphasis on compost. So we want to build up good microbial populations in our soil, good fungal populations in our soil to benefit the crops we grow. We use compost as a mulch, but this year as well we're looking at using haylage as a mulch. We found this year we could spread haylage over an acre, but then the wind carries half of it across the farm, and it's not much good to protection-wise. So again, that's where the trees will really come into their own in the next few years as they develop. But really, we would hope that in the coming years, as the plants fill out or the trees fill out and develop, we'd be able to improve the cover, and that would improve our yields then down the track. Yeah, so last year when we started with the hectare of land over doing the no dig market garden, we home tree yourself and we had a load of Ukrainian volunteers. It was actually a pretty magic day. We planted, I think it was 2,000 whitethorn. This year now as well, we've planted a lot of native trees around the farm, so about another 2,500 trees have gone in this year. We went in with hazel, alder, birch, a couple of types of oaks. We had Scots Point, so we've subdivided a lot of the paddocks into smaller fields to manage them more closely and to kind of standardize some of the practices we do. But then we wanted to also have natural roadways around the fields. So literally along all these new roadways, we've got alleys now of trees, spaced roughly between 3 and 5 meters between all the trees. With the oaks we did larger spacings, and with things like the alder we did about 3 meters. We also planted a hazel grove down the very front of the farm. We'll give an extra shelter belt down where it's one of the most windy parts of the farm. We have that vision for a long vision for the future, which I think is important, because things we're doing like investing in soil health, planting trees, crop rotations, they can't be done with a short-term view. And I think if we're to get to the targets we're setting for agriculture in Ireland, there needs to be a long-term vision for those. And if more younger people are to get into farming, it's very difficult to come in and buy a farm. Leasing is a much lower barriers to entry. If we can show an example here on this farm of how it can be done in horticulture, then I think there's hopefully a good example out there to people who want to try similar things around the country. The schemes there now are they're really, really positive. The foresters in the department want to work with farmers now. I've seen that bit of a sea change happening. There's a lot of good stuff happening, say with the IRO Agroforestry Forum. They're doing regular meetings now, regular farm walks. Get out there and see what other people are doing and see if it fits what you want to do on your farm. I think certainly the financial aspect of it stacks up in a lot of situations now. I don't think any farmer would be at a financial loss because they put trees in. I think the targets being set now for farmers from a nature restoration perspective are really strong, and I think if you can get ahead of that now, and the sooner you put trees in the ground, the sooner they're going to mature. So I'd say get involved and get information and reach out would be my message.